Hey Peyton, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to make a quick little video. I thought this might be the easiest way to talk about the questions you had. So I know you asked me about number 8, but I wanted to talk about number 7 first. So number 7 says, Mary can read 22 pages in 30 minutes. How long will it take her to read a 100-page book? We want to write our answer in hours and minutes, and then round to the nearest minute if I need to. So when we're setting up proportions, we're always going to use ratios. So I'm going to pull out from the information I've been given. I can write a ratio because I know that for every 30 minutes, she reads 22 pages. So this is just finding a ratio. Now the part where this becomes like a proportion is that in a proportional relationship, the ratio here, so the ratio of 22 to 30 is the same as any other ratio that I can pull out. So I'm going to set this equal to another ratio, and I know that I'm looking at how long it will take her to read a 100-page book, and I know that whatever number I go down here is going to make this ratio on the right side to be equal to the ratio on the left side. So for example, if I pull up my handy dandy calculator here, I know that really what's going on is that 22 divided by 30 is equal to 0.73 repeating. So what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to find what number needs to go over here on the bottom to make 100 divided by that number equal 0.73 repeating. Okay, so I'm trying to find a number that when I plug it in for x, and when I take 100 divided by that number, it gives me the same thing I got on the left side. Okay, and so how we do that then, so let me just move this. This is the number when I do my check at the end. This is what I should see that it's equal to. So how I would solve this is I just cross multiply. So I look, here's the variable, the thing I don't know. So I'm going to take the numbers that are not connected to this x. So what I mean by that is I'm going to look at 130 and I'm going to cross these two numbers together. So I'm cross multiplying. So I'm going to take 100 times 30 and then I divide by the number that would cross with x. So I'm going to divide by 22. So 100 times 30 divided by 22, well that's equal to, what is that, 3,000 divided by 22. Okay? And so I can use my calculator again. Let's clear that. Let me just double check to make sure I did that right. Divided by 22. Alright, so 136.36 repeating. So that tells me then that the number I'm going to put for x, the number that makes 100 divided by something equal this 0.73 we saw at the beginning, is going to be 136.36 repeating. So let's check that. Is that true? I said that whatever I find using proportion, whatever I find x to equal, that's going to make the right ratio over here be equal to the left ratio. So we saw that, if I move this here, we saw that 22 divided by 30 was equal to 0.733. So if I try this again, now I use 100 divided by the number we found, which was 136.36. I'm just going to keep doing that as long as I can. Okay. That should give me 0.733 repeating, and you can see that it does give me 0.73 repeating. So I know that I did my proportion correctly. Okay, so I can apply this then. Now, for number 7, this is how many minutes. Now notice when I set up my ratios, since I put 22 pages over 30 minutes, when I set up my other ratio, I put the number of pages on top, and then that gives me minutes on the bottom. So this here is actually how many minutes there are. And then our task would be, well, how many hours is in there? But I'm not going to do that right now. if you have questions on that, we can talk about that. Okay, so how would I do that with this one here? Maybe take a second and think about that. But I'm going to pull out what I can here. So I've got 25 minutes. What's the ratio I can write from this first sentence? Well, I know 25 minutes is what it takes to write a test. A, what number is signified by A? Well, it's like 1. It's saying that 25 minutes for one test. Okay? So that's equal to some ratio for 5 classes or 5 tests. Really, this is saying it's a test for each class. So this is really 5 tests. So over here, is test going to have to go on the bottom or on the top? Well, since I wrote test on the bottom in this ratio, I'm going to put tests on the bottom of this ratio as well. And I want to know, well, for 5 tests, how long will it take? So I'm going to figure out how many minutes will it take. So again, I am going to figure out a number that when I take that number divided by 5, it's going to be equal to the same thing that 25 divided by 1 is. Okay? And you could solve this using unit rates, which maybe would be easier, but I wanted you to do this with proportions. So to actually find my answer, I cross multiply. So 25 times 5, and then I divide by 1. So this tells me that 125 minutes is how long it will take this teacher to make 5 tests. And then I can double check. Well, is that true? Let's see. 25 divided by 1. I don't really have to use a calculator because it's going to be 25. Okay, so I'm saying that the ratio here on the left should be equal to the ratio on the right. So let's check. I saw 25 divided by 1 is 25. What is 125 divided by 5? Boom shakalaka. It's 25. That's what we said all along. This 125 is the right answer because that makes this ratio over here equal to the same thing as this ratio. Okay? And so that's how we can do that with any type of proportional problem. Alright, if you have any questions, please make sure you let me know. Alright, take care, man. We'll talk to you later.